Hello YouTube, Dave here again. Welcome back to another installment of my Ultimate Collection video. So this is a series that I started back in 2017 and kind of got away from, but I want to be able to wrap it up, where I just go over and show the various things that I have collections for. I've done my CD collection, or at least the major parts of my CD collection, my DVD collection, books and graphic novels, and I just recently did my virtual games, so ones that I've downloaded either through Nintendo's Virtual Console, Xbox Live Arcade, or even the ones that I have from Good Old Games, and as well my Super Nintendo Classic Edition. Today I thought I would go over some of my Xbox 360 games. Now this isn't going to be all of the ones that I have, and I'll sort of get to that in a moment. But I thought I would just kind of go over some of the 360 games that I have in my collection. And I thought I may as well start off with games that were purchased either by my fiancée for herself to play, or one that we got for our daughter to play. So, starting off, for our daughter, we got Minecraft for the Xbox 360. And this is actually, Minecraft it's just a fun little game, and there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do in it. Like what our daughter can do is way more advanced than anything that I could ever do in there. But it's just really cool, so she loves this game, and so we got it specifically for her to be able to play. Then for my fiance, and these are sort of troubling if you look at the pattern that they build here, but she wanted a Call of Duty game, so we got Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, and she is very good at this game, and almost frighteningly so. We got that one. She also picked up Ghost Recon, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon. I think she only played this once. It has the Kinect capabilities, and she did have a Kinect that she had picked up, and basically we never actually, I don't know anything about this game. I think, like I said, I think she tried it once, couldn't figure out what to do, sort of thing, and that was the end of that. She also picked up Crisis 3, and played this for a little bit, and it comes with some stuff there, although I'd say the download code, this was bought used, so the download code was probably not valid for it anymore. But this one seems kind of like an interesting game. She played it for a little bit and just kind of moved on. Grand Theft Auto 5. So she picked this up. Now this one was it's the used one, but it comes with the maps and everything, which is kind of cool. It also was on, I think they were having a sale, so I don't think she ended up paying the $35 for it. Or if she did, actually I think she did, and I got a second game for free, which I'll show off in another video. But Grand Theft Auto 5, she had, there was a free online trial for a bit that she played, and seemed to enjoy it, but it's been a while since she's touched this one as well. And then Watch Dogs. So she's really big into computers and stuff that you can do with computers and all those things. So she actually really loved this game. I know a lot of people kind of gave it harsh reviews, but she really enjoyed it. And she actually played through the entire thing and actually beat the game. So that was pretty cool to see. I tried it for a little bit, and I found the vehicle section to be so painfully difficult that I just decided that the game wasn't for me. Alright, also, let's just move on to some miscellaneous Xbox games here. So, we have Dead Rising. Well, at least it was supposed to be Dead Rising. So we picked this up from EB Games, which is what it's called here in Nova Scotia. It wasn't very much. Like, it was $9. I think it was even on sale as well. It wasn't the one that I got free with when she bought Grand Theft Auto 5, but it was just, again, a really just cheap game, which was fine. But we take it home, and it's actually Dead Rising 2 was the disc that they put in there. Now, honestly, she was going to take it back, but Dead Rising 2, in my opinion, is probably the better of the two games. And the Dead Rising 2 was also, I think, around $15, so it would have been more expensive, which is the one that we actually wanted to get in the first place. But because of the price, we decided to settle on Dead Rising, and when they gave us the Dead Rising 2 disc, it's like, yeah, let's just pretend that, that didn't happen, and we ended up keeping this one. So there you go there. Probably not necessarily the right thing to do, but again, it's EB Games and their used prices are kind of ridiculous anyway. Up next, I've got the Condemned Origins, Criminal Origins. I didn't get to play this very much. I really want to go back and finish this. This was a launch title for the Xbox 360, and it really kind of showed off what the system was capable of at the time. Which is really, really cool. It's a first-person game, but it's not your traditional shooter. There's a lot more. I mean, you can get guns and stuff, but there's a lot of like melee-based combat and stuff like that. It just seems like a really, really cool game. One that I definitely need to go back and finish up at some point. Up next, got Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands. So this came out around the time of the Prince of Persia movie. And you can see like the style, like the way that he's dressed and the pose does look very similar to the way that Jake Gyllenhaal, I think, was the actor. And the way that he looked on the Prince of Persia movie poster. I gotta be honest, this game is actually really, really fun. I loved every minute of playing this game. I used to have the trilogy on the original Xbox, but when I moved, I gave my Xbox and the games that I had with it to a friend of mine, with the exception of just a very select few, because he would appreciate it. And at this point, I wasn't using it. I had, like, at that time I had the GameCube, which I was using heavily, and my Xbox 360, which I was using heavily, and I just didn't want to have the space taken up. So, I had a friend who had it in his room anyway. Like, he had been borrowing the console for quite some time. It's like, well, here, you can just keep it. Kind of thing. So, but this is pretty fun. It's not necessarily, it's not as good as Sands of Time, but it is a really good game. I enjoyed it, and I thought it was a lot better than the other Prince of Persia game that came out for the 360, which I don't own. I played a little bit of, and that was pretty much it for me. All right, up next, Castlevania: Lords of Shadow. I think this game is pretty cool as well. I enjoy it. It's not your traditional Castlevania game. It's sort of more inspired by God of War, which is fine. It works well, and it's probably one of the better 3D Castlevania games out there. I know the sequel did not do as well, but this one is, as far as I've gotten in it so far anyway, is a lot of fun. And there's different styles of gameplay, different things that you can do in there as well, which is pretty cool. Alright, up next is Doom 3. This is the BFG edition. This is for the Xbox 360, but plays on the Xbox One. I had Doom 3 for my original Xbox, but when I gave it to my friend, I had that game included in there with it. And I kind of started to miss it, and I saw this at Walmart, and it was always like, $20. $25, stuff like that, and finally I just decided to go ahead and pick it up. I think what we ended up doing actually was my fiance gifted to me for as part of a Christmas present, if I recall correctly. But what's really cool about this one, and it doesn't really say in here, it might say on the back, but this actually includes the playable versions of the original Doom and Doom 2, so that's really cool. There is a poster included as well, but the paper is super thin, and but there you go. It's just the cover of the original Doom with Doom Guy, which is pretty cool, but again, it's a very flimsy feeling poster, so it's just going to stay in there. No manual or anything, which always kind of sucks. It's one of the things that I really hate about modern gaming, is that nothing has instructions anymore. Which just, it's a pet peeve, because that used to be one of my favorite things about old school games. Alright, next, I am Canadian, so therefore I need to have a hockey game. So this is NHL 12. It was pretty cheap. I bought this, I think it was probably in 2014. Yeah, I think it was 2014 when I picked this up, so I got it for a pretty good price. I had bought it brand new, and it's a hockey game, and I'm a Canadian. I love hockey. Montreal Canadiens are my favorite team. They're not doing so well this year, but they're still my favorite team, and this game is a lot of fun. I don't play it very often, but I do have it for when I get the urge to do so. Alright, up next, let's look at some Assassin's Creed games. So, I recently did a Easter pickups video where I said that I had gotten this, the Assassin's Creed, the Americas collection for Easter from my fiance. And I learned a little bit more about it. It's still sealed. I still haven't opened it up or played it yet. It's only been a couple of days since I did that pickup video. I guess it's been about 3 days now. But what I did learn is that Assassin's Creed 3 and Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag are physical disc copies. So there is actually a disc included inside for both of those games. And that Assassin's Creed Liberation, the reason that it says HD is Assassin's Creed Liberation was apparently originally a portable game that was on the PlayStation Portable. And so they kind of upgraded it to a full HD game, and it has a physical download code. So it's not a copy of a disc, it's an actual code to download stuff with. And like I said, this one is still sealed. I will get to opening it at some point. I'm not into sealed video game collecting or anything like that. It's just I haven't gotten around to playing it yet, so I'll wait until that happens before I open it up. And up next, so this is a Future Shop exclusive, and this is the Assassin's Creed, or the Master Assassin Pack for Assassin's Creed. So this was only, I think, 20 bucks to pick this up, which was, in my opinion, a really good price. You have Assassin's Creed 2, and Assassin's Creed Brotherhood available in here. So again, this is just really kind of neat packaging. It also included some downloadable content stuff as well. So the Assassin's Creed 2, you had the bonus single-player map for one of the things, the Arsenal Shipyard single-player map as well. So I guess some new areas, the Verizon character skin, and I don't know if I've actually downloaded all the stuff yet. And then you've got some DLC as well that you can get for the Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. So this came out in 2011. So Future Shop I don't think exists in Canada at all anymore, which was kind of a shame because it was a pretty decent store for a lot of the stuff and used games and things along those lines. So it has those 3 games. Now here is my only kind of gripe or my beef with this product is all the games were individually shrink wrapped. So they actually had their plastic wrap on them. They were sort of sealed, but what they ended up doing with these is they cut through the seal, they cut through the plastic on the case and into the sleeve on the case itself, and they cut out the UPC code on all of these games. I guess the idea was that they didn't want people buying the games and then just because they had a used game policy where you could trade games in for store credit, they probably didn't want you to trade the games back, although I can't imagine them giving you more than $20 credit for that. But anyway, so the problem with this is that it actually cut like into the case itself. Like you can kind of see the scratch mark there. And when you go to put these back in sometimes, this little piece of the plastic will catch, and it's a big pain in the butt. And they did it to all 3. And it's one of those things that I would rather they have unsealed them. Leave the thing over the top here, which they could have done perfectly fine. Take the plastic wrap off them, and then stick this really difficult to get off, not for resale sticker on the things, or even to take the sleeves out possibly, and and do that. Because anyway, it's kind of it just looks ugly. And actually, you can see just by putting this back, it already did that. So there you go. So like I said, it's a cool idea, cool concept, and I kept the sleeve because why not? But again, it just sucks that, and there you go, it's catching on the thing, that it can be such a pain in the butt to deal with those UPC codes being cut out when there's probably a better way that they could have done it, because now it's actually tearing the paper insert itself. So there you go, and that Assassin's Creed. Alright, so up next, let's just have a quick look at Tomb Raider. So this was the reboot of the Tomb Raider franchise. It's also the movie that served as one of the bigger sources of inspiration for the brand new Tomb Raider movie. And I haven't seen the movie yet. I've heard some pretty mixed things about it. But this game was pretty good. This was actually a really great game. I enjoyed it, every minute of it. Played it a couple of times through, and my fiance went through and played this. And again, she's really good at the shooting mechanics in games, which makes me really nervous. But there was one scene towards the end where there was this huge, massive firefight that took me probably a couple hours to get through, just because there's so many enemies that are also ducking behind cover, and she breezed through in like 10 minutes. And it was really just, again, really kind of creepy and disturbing, but there you go. Right, up next, I've got some of the Batman Arkham games for the Xbox 360. So we will start with Batman Arkham Asylum. Now, the reason that I got this game, and it wasn't on my radar at all, I didn't really know too much about it, but EB Games had a sale on launch day. So if you bought this game on release date, it was $40 instead of the $60 that they were normally charging, which is a good price by today's standards, since a lot of brand new games go for like $80 for a disc only in a case, which is ridiculous. But anyway, that's not, notwithstanding. But they had it was on sale, so I picked it up for $40, gave it a chance, and my God, this game is amazing. The voice acting and everything in it is fantastic. The gameplay is nearly flawless. I love this game to death, and yeah, I'm really glad that I took the chance and spent the $40. So up next is Batman Arkham City, and I got a few different things to show off for Arkham City. So when I first bought Arkham City, I pre-ordered the special edition because it was a game. I loved Arkham Asylum so much that I wanted the special edition for Arkham City. Sorry, I just had to take a sip of coffee there. So, and I pre-ordered it, and one of the things that, it's probably to my detriment, but one of the things that I usually do if I know I want to pre-order something, I try to avoid spoilers on it. So I try not to look at what's actually included, and which again is a bad idea that bit me in the behind once, but and probably twice here if you look at this one. But I pre-order it, and one of the things that I do is, since the special editions tend to be a lot more expensive, is EB Games, at least where I was, would allow you to continuously update your pre-order. So you could pre-order stuff months in advance, which I did for Arkham City. I think I pre-ordered that about 3 months in advance. And every pay I would just go down and put a little bit more on it. So if it was a paycheck that I had to pay my rent on, then I would put $10 on it. If the paycheck where my bills and utilities came out, that was a little bit cheaper, so I'd put $20 on it. And by the time the game came out, I only had to pay, I think, like $20 or $30 on it. But what came with it was so the special edition didn't have a conventional case, which was really surprising to me. What it had was this awesome Batman statue, which I actually have out on my shelf. A little bit of dust on it, but this is a really, really cool looking statue of Batman. It's got like the texture and everything for his suit. It's got like the black and white, the grayscale, which just looks great. Really cool statue, so that's fine. But it came with an art book, which again is totally fine, as well as a download code for the soundtrack, the download code to play as Catwoman, the download code for the the Iceberg Lounge challenge map, and I don't know if I actually did all these or not, so I'm going to be careful with what I kind of show off. The Dark Knight Returns skin, and the Gotham City Imposters. I think this is just, oh, nope, that's a, oh, that was to join the beta, so I don't think that's such a big deal if I don't show that, or if the code gets shown there. And just a little bit of information on the statue itself. So, inside just has some concept art, which is really cool. You got Talia al Ghul, Moon Knight, I believe that was Moon Knight, Deadshot, Mr. Freeze, Solomon Grundy. So just a lot of really cool artwork in here. I'm not going to go through and show every single page. There's some Catwoman, just I guess those. You got a little bit of Robin action going on there. The Joker, and actually shows some concept art for the Joker and his thugs, which is really cool. You got the Penguin, Two-Face, anyway, Harley Quinn, and just some concept art. So this is really cool, and it's really great, but the disc goes in here, and it's like, well, I don't want to have to pull, a book off my shelf every single time to play the game. So, a friend of mine who worked at Future Shop at the time, so Future Shop, their pre-order bonus was this special edition steelbook case for Batman Arkham City. So he picked this up for me, and I have all the other download codes that are in here. So this was for the Game of the Year edition, but there's like download codes for the Batman Year 1 movie, which was actually pretty good. Anyway, I actually have the Game of the Year edition disc in here. My original disc that I got with Arkham City, I actually gave to a friend of mine because I sold him my original Xbox 360, and it's like, well, here you can have this game with it as well. So I gave that to him. I think he had a case to put it in already, and so this is just the Game of the Year edition. The case. So I bought this. It was actually on sale, and it cost less than getting all the DLC at the time. So there was actually a really good sale on this when it came out. And so I just have the... Oh, okay, yeah. So I had a different case for something else, I believe, or... No, this was the case that it came in. It's just it was broken. So I gave him the disc with the thing that came to... You basically can flip it over and it has the spot to hold the CD on, but it came broken. And so I just gave him that part of it, and he said he had a DVD case at home that he could use for it. So I got those, and with the Game of the Year edition, so the second disc has all the DLC that you can install on it. So that's why I got those. And then I have Batman Arkham Origins, which was not done by Rocksteady, but you know what? This game is pretty dang good as well. I really enjoyed it, and I don't think it deserves a lot of the criticism that it got. There was one story twist that I feel was probably unnecessary, but overall, this was a really great game, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. So if you're into the Batman Arkham games, and you haven't played Origins because you heard like negative thoughts about it or reviews about it, give it a try, because you know what, it's actually not that bad. It plays very, very much like the other games. So there you go. Alright, getting down to the wire here for this video. So up next are my Alien games, and I probably had the wrong one out front, but this is Alien Isolation, which is the best of the Alien games released for the Xbox 360. Hands down, this game is a first-person survival horror game, and it's really, really awesome. It can get very intense. If you scare easily, this is probably not going to be the game for you, but if you love the Alien franchise, you love the Alien movies, at least the first few, then this is definitely something that you need to experience, because it is great. As far as I understand, the story with Amanda Ripley, Ellen Ripley's daughter, is, I guess it's canon in the Alien universe, but it also included the Cruel Expendable content where you can play as Ellen Ripley, Dallas, or Parker from the original crew, and they have like voice samples and clips from the original movie. It really recreates the feel of the original Alien incredibly well. Like the atmosphere, the scenery, the level design is absolutely fantastic. So this game is, I would say, if you're an Alien fan, if you don't have this yet, go out and get it, because it's amazing. Alright, up next is an okay game, Aliens vs. Predator. This is actually not bad. This game can be a lot of fun. I actually had, so you can play as the alien, the predator, or you can play as a marine. And the alien and predator can be sort of more mindlessly fun, but the marine story is actually probably the most solid story in the entire thing. It's a fun game, and I kind of wish they would put out another one of these, although I don't have the modern system, so if they do, it's kind of pointless now. But this is actually a pretty cool game, and you can probably find it for cheap. So again, and I think the online community is still going strong for this one, so it may be worth checking out. Now, the worst of the games is Aliens Colonial Marines, and I had fun playing the game, but it can also be incredibly frustrating at times, and the enemy AI is pretty bad. The aliens just kind of run at you and run into your bullets. It's not I don't think it's as bad as everyone makes it out to be. I know there are people saying that there were a lot of bugs and glitches that made the game unplayable. I never encountered anything of that scale. You see some clipping issues and stuff like that, but it wasn't to the point where like the glitches were ruining the ability to play the game. I thought it was okay, and every once in a while I will pop this in and give it a playthrough. So it's far from unplayable. It's the weakest of the Alien games for sure on the 360, but it's not the worst thing ever. So, you know, if you can find it for cheap and you're willing to overlook some, you know, not the greatest game design in the world, but you just want to have a little bit of mindless fun, you can do this. If you can get this game for like $5, then I would say pick it up. If it was more than that, you may want to consider trying to go after Alien vs. Predator or the excellent Alien Isolation. Alright, only got a few minutes left before the recording cuts out on me here, so the last thing I'm going to show off just quickly are my collection of WWE games for the 360. So it started with SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. I got this from Future Shop. It was on sale for like $7, so I had to pick it up because I didn't have any wrestling games for that system, and it's not bad. It's not the greatest game in the world, but it's definitely not bad. After that I got 2010 and 2011. 2011's kind of disappointing because it integrates its story modes into the exhibition matches, so you can be going through and somebody will jump you as you're making your entrance for your exhibition stuff. It's not so great, which is disappointing because it had, you know, Bret the Hitman Hart in it. And I actually had bought this before I got 2010, but I went back and got 2010 simply because I didn't want to have that gap between the years. And then there's WWE 12, which is amazing. It was a huge step up from the SmackDown vs. Raw games. WWE 13, which focused on the Attitude Era story mode. So this was the first game to not have unique stories. All the other games had their own storylines created for the game. And this one actually had moments where you would relive major moments from the Attitude Era, which was really, really cool to go through. Alright, sorry about that. So the camera did cut out on me, and this is actually my second attempt to record this last part of the video. So the first attempt went, the video was corrupted and wouldn't play, wouldn't even upload. Like when I tried to play it on my desktop, it wouldn't go. Actually, when I tried to play it off of the camera, it wouldn't go. So anyway, I did also record a second version of it, but it ended up being 20 minutes long, so I want to cut that down a little bit. So let's just get right to it, finish off my WWE games, and that'll be it for this video. There will be a part 2 of my Xbox collection because you may have noticed that there are some major omissions from this one, like Halo, Gears of War, and like RPGs and stuff like that that I have for the system. So I will do that in a separate video because there tends to be things that I want to show alongside of those. I've got a few things that I want to show alongside of these wrestling games, so let's just get right to it. We have WWE 2K14. This one was, again, an excellent game. The gimmick behind this one was it was celebrating 30 years of WrestleMania, so their story mode, you basically, instead of reliving the Attitude Era like you did in the previous game, you are reliving 30 years of WrestleMania, although WrestleMania 30 hadn't happened yet. And I'll talk a little bit more about WrestleMania 30 at some other point. So this one here, if you notice the case, you may, if you have this game, you may not recognize this particular case. This is not a special edition or anything like that. The case, the insert inside the case was actually double-sided. So the first side, the side that you would have on the stores, had The Rock on it. And if I actually pop this out, you can see it there. But when I opened it up and saw that there was a choice between The Rock or Daniel Bryan, I was never the biggest Rock fan. And I'm a huge fan of Daniel Bryan, so that, to me, that was sort of a no-brainer. Alright, up next is the most broken and busted of the Xbox 360 WWE games. This is WWE 2K15. This one's just a mess. There's tons of bugs. It's very difficult to be able to just sit down and play and enjoy. One of the biggest issues is it screws up pretty much all the championships' names, in which, for me, I like to do just exhibition and have, like, you know, titles change hands, and I like to use the older titles. Because I think that a lot of the older titles, like the Winged Eagle, the Giant Eagle, or the Universal, not the Universal, oh god, not the Universal, but the Undisputed WWE Championship belts looked so much better than what we have today. So when you come out with the undisputed title and it introduces it as the ECW television championship, it's like, well, no, that's wrong. So that's a big issue. There's a lot of bugs that take place in the match itself. There are some ones where an individual just cannot be pinned, so they'll always kick out at 2, and even when you hit them with a big move, they pop pretty much right back up. Which is really, really frustrating at times. So, like I said, there's just sort of a mess when it came to that game. What was good about it, though, was that it introduced the 2K Showcase. So, 2K Showcase, I mean, they had done stuff like that similar in the past with the Attitude Era and the 30 Years of WrestleMania. But what this one did is it took actual rivalries and you played through the signature matches that took place during some of those rivalries, and in between each match you had a little hype package, which was like actual video clips from the Monday Night Raws or the pay-per-views. Really, really cool. So with the game on launch was the John Cena versus CM Punk, which, not a huge CM Punk fan, and I know that may not be a popular thing amongst wrestling fans. I was never that big on him. But, the stuff that he did with John Cena was great, for the most part. I mean, having him leave with the championship thinking that, well, he's, leaving the company was actually pretty cool. But they spoiled it by having come back 2 weeks later. Like, he should have done some independent shows where he came with the WWE spinner belt, and all that would have been really, really cool to have that. And to have them milk that for at least, a month, if not 2 months, and then have him come back. Because, he came back 2 weeks later, and they basically set up a similar thing to like the Razor Ramon Shawn Michaels feud from 1994, which if you're a big WWE fan, you should know what that is, and if you don't, then you can certainly look it up. But I don't think they had a ladder match to culminate the feud, but anyway, it was similar enough that it's like, well, I remember 1994. I remember 2 different champions with the same belt. So anyway, I guess I just spoiled it there anyway, but here you go. Up next is WWE 2K16, and this one is much, much better, miles better than 2K15. 2K15 was also the first one to be launched for the multiple platforms, including the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and then the PlayStation 3 and 360. These ones use the same engine as 2K14 for the 360. The Xbox One versions had a different engine for the gameplay, and as some of them, from what I understand, they had removed match types as well. Like some of them I think were missing like Hell in a Cell or cage matches or something. But I remember that there was some really stripped down features. So anyway, 2K16, the showcase is all about the career of Stone Cold Steve Austin, and it was an awesome thing to play through. Some people were upset that the story mode involved just a single individual, but it's the career of one of the all-time greatest wrestlers in history. I mean, this is somebody who, destroyed records set by Hulk Hogan for, merchandise sales and stuff like that. So, Austin's importance to professional wrestling cannot be understated. For everyone who says that Hulk Hogan made wrestling, which, that's debatable, but, Hulk Hogan was a huge name in the 80s, so, that is definitely a fair statement that can be made. Stone Cold Steve Austin saved wrestling. So, before he came along, things were kind of in this downward trend, and I don't think it could have really survived. But you had Austin come in, he got as hot as he did, and he saved professional wrestling, especially the WWE. So anyway, so again, really, really cool. You got his career, and it's not just his WWE career either. There are matches that you will play that he does from WCW. And there is, I'm pretty sure there's WCW. Yeah, I think there's the WCW one where he was in the Hollywood Blondes. And then there's an ECW match as well against, was it Mikey Whipwreck? So we only had 2 matches in ECW, but you get to play at least one of them in that mode. All right, up next and final for this video as far as the games go is WWE 2K17. This is actually, again, a really, really good game. It was lacking pretty much, like, the story mode was gone. Like, there's the WWE Universe mode, but they didn't have like the actual like showcase modes. They did bring one in with their DLC, which is about the Hall of Fame class, and you could play matches with the Hall of Famers from that year. But it was kind of disappointing because their story modes were so good, and I think what they really should have done was had, someone else that they would have had their career retrospective on, even if it was like Shawn Michaels, or even though he wasn't retired yet, you could even do one for The Undertaker, which would have been great. So that was a little bit disappointing, but it's still a really great game. It's got a pretty decent sized roster as well. Alright, so those are the games, and I want to move right along to the last three things that I want to show here, and these are WWE books. So the first one that we have here is just the 50th anniversary book for the World Wrestling Entertainment, and so this is just sort of like, going over their history. So there's got a bunch of different things here. You got like King of the Ring information, which is actually kind of cool. I wish they would bring back King of the Ring, because I thought it was great if they had it mean something like it did for a lot of the times. Actually, it would mean something. Like in 1994, Owen Hart won the King of the Ring, and then he went on to face Bret the Hitman Hart at SummerSlam for the title. You had winners like Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H, Kurt Angle and Edge. Brock Lesnar was the last person to win the legitimate pay-per-view King of the Ring tournament. But you also had like even Mabel in 1995 went on to face Diesel for the championship at SummerSlam. So it's something that could have meant something, and it was a big stepping stone for the individuals that were able to actually capitalize on it. I mean, you look at like Billy Gunn. Ken Shamrock didn't really do much with it, unfortunately. But anyway, but when you look at the list of people up until Brock Lesnar, I mean, most of these were major stars, and a lot of them would go on to at least challenge for a title shortly after winning. So anyway, a little King of the Ring rant. It's got a lot of cool stuff in here. It's got stuff on the Monday Night War, along with the infamous "That's Gonna Put Butts in the Seats" line, which was basically the last time WCW ever enjoyed a ratings lead, I believe. From this point forward, they never won another, head-to-head Monday Night Raw. And when you're, scoffing at the idea of Mick Foley, one of the most beloved people in wrestling, winning the championship against The Rock, who was one of the biggest, names in the industry at the time, and you're making fun of that, and what you're running alongside of that is the finger poke of doom between Kevin Nash and Hulk Hogan. WCW deserved to lose, and I'm sorry. But anyway, so this is just the 50th anniversary book, which is really cool. Just nice history. And oops, I have the insert inside. This was on the back of the book because it actually had the cellophane on it. Up next, 30 years of WrestleMania. So again, very similar. This focuses solely on the WrestleManias. Came with a bookmark. There were several different ones. There was the Iron Man match. There was the streak, the match that broke the streak, which never ever should have happened. So the one that I got was the retirement match between Randy Savage and Ultimate Warrior, which was actually a great match considering that I did not like the Warrior, and the Warrior was not particularly good in the ring. But with Savage, he had a great match. So this just goes over pretty much all the different WrestleManias and some of the stories and the matches, and it's just an awesome thing for someone who, I mean, I love WrestleMania, even WrestleMania 9, except for the BS ending. So this was an awesome book to get as well. But the main one, my favorite one, is 25 Years of Destruction. So this book is fully dedicated to The Undertaker. And this is just an amazing book for someone who's been such a huge fan of The Undertaker throughout the years. Has a foreword by JBL, of all people, but I guess, The Undertaker did a fair amount for JBL, and tried to put him over as champion. And what's interesting is, people look at that and say, well, he dominated and lost on a DQ. WWE wanted JBL to win clean, and JBL thought that it would make more sense if he was the cowardly heel. And being the cowardly heel and holding the belt as long as he did really helped, and having that initial feud with The Undertaker was something that I think helped out a lot to get people to really want to see him lose the belt. And so when he finally did, it meant so much more. But this goes over stuff like his moveset, different storylines, his caskets that he's used over the years, which is just really cool. The different styles, so there's the... And you know what? I like this match. I don't care what people say. Undertaker versus Undertaker was something that was just such a weird concept when I was a kid, but I loved it. His match against Diesel at WrestleMania 12, which was his first really good WrestleMania, well, I shouldn't say really, it was his first decent WrestleMania match. His feud with Mankind, including, does it have the Hell in a Cell, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, the situation with Kane, which was one of the best told stories in WWF. Even to this day, I think it's still one of the better stories ever, just because it actually, took a year to build up, and they did such a good job of it, in my opinion. And then we have the streak, which again never ever should have ended, which is one of the biggest mistakes. When you have a match that people genuinely care about and are emotionally invested in, year after year after year, to have him lose, it just sucks the wind right out of that, and it basically puts it so that no one's gonna have that same level of attachment to those matches, and for me it was just a huge missed opportunity. So anyway, this is, just like I said, this is an awesome book. Love it. And if you're an Undertaker fan and you did not know that this book was out, hopefully it's still in print. And there you go. So that's the first part of my video game collection, along with some other WWE stuff. Hope you enjoyed the video, and be sure to come back next week when I go over the rest of my Xbox collection. Anyway, thank you guys again very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.